Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Dakota. Today, JAB Acquisition Corp I just filed an 8-K detailing their initial public offering, and I'm seeing a few key things that matter for investors. Quick note, this is not financial advice, just my take on public filings for educational purposes. This filing shows a company just going public and raising a significant amount of money, and we will break down exactly where that money is coming from and what it means for the company's structure going forward. So JAB Acquisition Corp I, which trades under the ticker JABRU, has officially completed its first public offering. This means the company has sold shares to the public for the first time, raising a lot of cash. They filed a Form 8-K, which is a report used by public companies to announce major events that shareholders should know about. The company itself, JAB Acquisition Corp I, is essentially a shell company that was created with the specific purpose of acquiring another business. These are often called Special Purpose Acquisition Companies, or SPACs. It was incorporated in the Cayman Islands, a common place for these types of companies. The filing also lists their Nasdaq stock market LLC ticker symbols for their different units and securities, like JABRU for the units, JAB for ordinary shares, JABRU for warrants, and JABRU for rights. JAB reports that it is an emerging growth company. This means they are a newer company that can take advantage of some relaxed regulatory requirements, which can help them grow faster without as much red tape. Now, let's talk about what they actually sold. The company offered units, and each unit had a few components. Imagine it like a bundle deal. Each unit included one Class A ordinary share, which is a basic share of the company's stock, plus half of a redeemable warrant and a right to get even more shares later on. These units were all traded on the Nasdaq stock market LLC. This section really gets to the heart of the IPO. JAB raised a whopping $172.5 million. They sold 17,250,000 units at $10 each. They even sold an extra 25,000 units because investors wanted more. This over-allotment option was fully exercised, meaning the underwriters took on all the extra shares they could. This involved several important agreements. The underwriting agreement is basically the contract between the company and the investment banks that sold the shares. It outlines the terms of the offering. We also see the warrant agreement and the rights agreement, which detail how those warrants and rights, those extra pieces of the bundle, will work. There is also an agreement with the sponsor. This is usually the group that initially formed the SPAC, like JAB Acquisition Sponsor I LLC. They often get special shares or warrants. A significant part of SPACs is the money held in a trust account. This investment management trust agreement details how that money raised from the public offering is managed. Typically, this money is held aside to fund the acquisition of another company. And then there is the private placement. This is where the sponsor bought an additional 260,000 units for $10 each, bringing in another $2.6 million. These private units are similar to what the public bought, but they usually come with some restrictions, like not being able to sell them easily until the company finds a business to merge with. This section confirms that private sale of those 260,000 units to the sponsor. It was done under a rule that allows companies to sell securities without a public registration, as long as it is to a sophisticated buyer and not a broad public offering. No commissions were paid on this private sale, which is typical. This is where we see some changes in the boardroom. On the 11th of June 2026, 3 new directors were appointed to the board: Luisa Ingagiola, Kyle Miller, and David Pfeffer. They are described as independent directors, meaning they don't have financial ties to the company other than their director compensation. These new directors will be involved in overseeing the company's strategy, especially as it looks for a business to acquire. The company also adopted an amended and restated memorandum and articles of association. This is essentially updating the company's foundational legal documents to reflect its new status as a publicly traded company and to align with the structure of the IPO. This section points to press releases that announce the IPO. One announced the pricing and another announced the closing of the offering. These are standard communications to let the market know about these important milestones. Finally, we come to the list of exhibits. These are the actual documents that back up the information in the report. You can find the full text of the underwriting agreement, the warrant agreement, the rights agreement, and all the other key documents that govern how this company will operate and potentially find and merge with another business. The registration rights agreement is particularly important, as it outlines when and how the sponsor and other initial shareholders can register their shares for public sale. Now, looking at these results more broadly, JAB Acquisition Corp I is in the familiar SPAC position of having raised a significant amount of capital and being on the hunt for an acquisition. The success of this venture hinges entirely on finding a suitable target company to merge with. Historically, SPACs that fail to find a merger partner within a certain timeframe often liquidate, returning the trust funds to shareholders. The key risk here is the execution of that merger. They have the funds. But the market for acquisitions can be competitive, and finding the right fit at a good valuation is crucial. The company's direction is entirely tied to its future merger target, making it more of an investment in management's ability to find and integrate a business than in an established operational entity. What I'm actually looking for is news about their target acquisition. Oh, and the research tools I actually use are linked in the description. They help keep this channel going. That is my take. Stay decoded. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps. And subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description.